My wife told our son I was just the nanny who pays bills. I found the crayon drawing taped to the fridge, me outside the house crying. Inside? Her, our son, and her real husband. I said nothing. Just left. Now she's calling from school pickup, screaming that he's asking, where's my real dad? She taped the picture right at my eye level. Center of the fridge. Top magnet. In the drawing, I'm standing in the rain. Crying. Outside the house. Inside? A cartoon version of my wife, our 6-year-old son, and another man, tall, square-jawed, superhero style, with a speech bubble that read, "We love you, real daddy." That wasn't what broke me. It was the detail, my character holding a briefcase, a little $sign on the side, and a caption that said, "Bill Man." I stared at it for 3 minutes. Maybe 5. Long enough for my coffee to go cold and the microwave clock to reset after a flicker of power outage. I didn't yell. Didn't even take it down. I just left. No suitcase. No confrontation. Just keys, wallet, and the quietest rage I've ever known. It started 3 months ago. At least that's when I noticed the shift. Eli started calling me Mr. Dad. At first, I thought it was some weird phase from cartoons. But he said it like a stranger. Like a teacher. Polite. Distant. When I corrected him, he said Mommy told him not to call me real dad in public because it's confusing to people who know her actual husband. That was the first time the floor wobbled under me. I confronted her gently. She laughed it off. Said kids misremember things, that maybe he overheard something from her mom, who always says the wrong thing. I let it go. Next week, I found my favorite hoodie in the trash. Our son had drawn on it with Sharpie, stick figures, and XS. When I asked why, he said it was practice, and Mommy said I don't need dirty clothes now that I work for her. That word, work, it kept coming up. Daddy's job is to work and leave us alone so we can play. Mommy says Daddy's too boring to be part of movie night. Mommy said I can call new dad Captain. Like in the movies. I asked who Captain was. She said it was a game. Pretend. I asked again, this time with my face close. She said, "You're scaring me." That's the only fight we ever had. She cried, told me I was paranoid. That I'd always been insecure about being a good father. That I should go back to therapy. I believed her. I thought maybe I was cracking. I doubled my work hours just to avoid bringing home that coiled tension. Then Eli stopped hugging me. He said hugs were only for family. I laughed. He didn't. That night I asked my wife why Eli was pulling away. She said, because you're not what he needs anymore. Not who? What? Like I was a mattress he outgrew. I remember just staring at her. She looked so calm. Sipping chamomile tea and scrolling Pinterest for birthday party ideas. He's not stupid, she added. Kids know what love looks like. What it doesn't. I slept in the guest room after that. 2 days later, my credit card declined at a gas station. I checked the account. She transferred our shared savings into a new account with a name I didn't recognize. I asked about it. She said it was for household stability. Wouldn't want Bill Man going bankrupt, right? She said. I asked if she was seeing someone. She said no, with a smile that looked like it belonged on someone else's face. I didn't press. I started documenting instead. Emails, statements, voicemails. Then the fridge drawing happened. And I left. Not loud. Not vengeful. Just gone. I checked into a cheap business hotel by the freeway. Carpet smelled like wet cereal. I didn't care. I watched the walls. I didn't cry. But my hands trembled when I typed the message to her. Don't call. You've said enough. Tell Eli whatever version of the truth you can sleep with. She didn't reply. Until school pickup. Apparently, Eli wouldn't get in the car unless real dad came. She called me 14 times. Texted things like, "This isn't funny. You're hurting his growth. He's asking questions and I don't have answers." And finally, "He won't stop crying." What the heck did you say to him? Nothing. I hadn't said a word. That's the part that broke her. Because she knows I'm done talking. And I think she's just now realizing. The silence isn't empty. It's a verdict. Update 1. I told her to explain it to him herself. Now he's asking why fake daddy lives in our house and sleeps in my bed. I didn't answer the first 5 calls. Or the next 7. I watched them ring out while eating vending machine almonds in the parking lot of a 24-hour gym. A part of me wanted to hear her voice, just to know how she'd spin this. But a bigger part wanted her to sit in the car and panic while our son screamed that he wanted to see real dad. You think you know your capacity for pettiness. Then you find yourself smiling at a voicemail where your wife is trying not to cry because her lie collapsed in public. I listened to that one twice. Then I drove back to the hotel and wrote a text. Tell him the truth. You've been rehearsing it for months. 5 minutes later, she replied. What truth? I don't know what you're even accusing me of anymore. Just come talk to your son. And that's when I realized. She still didn't believe I'd really left. In her mind, I was on a walk. A tantrum. One of my little episodes that would blow over once I got tired of sulking. She'd said it before. That I sulk? I thought it was just a joke. But now it's how she explains my absence to our son. Daddy's just sulking. He does that when he's tired. Let's play Mario Kart. Eli called that night. From her phone. Probably coerced. His voice was tiny. Unsure. Are you not my dad anymore? I had to sit down. I didn't say, of course I am. Didn't say, always. I said, why would you think that? He got quiet. I heard her in the background, whispering urgently. Then he said, because mommy says you're like the nanny. You help but you don't stay forever. I bit my lip so hard I tasted copper. She took the phone after that. Said Eli needed stability and my radio silence was damaging. I said, you told him I was a temp worker with a bedtime story habit. She hung up. I got another text 10 minutes later. You're being dramatic. I was trying to explain things in a way he could understand. So I asked. Understand what? That you've replaced me? That text was never marked as read. 3 days passed. I didn't go to work. Earned a few vacation days I had left. Sat in the hotel and stared at old baby photos I'd forgotten I had saved in a folder called Sleep-Deprived Dad _2018. He was so small. I remembered feeding him at 2 a.m. swaying on my feet like a drunk, whispering nonsense songs into his soft hair while she slept through it all. That's when I started documenting the way she used to check out. How she'd hand him to me like a sack of groceries when he cried too long. How I learned the difference between gas pain and night terrors because she just couldn't with that screaming right now. But that's not how she tells it. She tells it like I was gone. Mentally absent. Always working. Always too fragile to help. She posted on Facebook yesterday. A photo of her and Eli at the zoo. Captioned, solo parenting isn't for the weak, but he's worth everything. Just us now. My sunshine boy. The comments were as predictable as they were nauseating. You're so strong. He's lucky to have you. Men can really let us down sometimes. I didn't respond. But I saved them. That night, the hotel manager knocked on my door. Said a woman had come by asking if I was staying there. Said she showed him a wedding photo to prove we were family. I tipped him $100 not to tell her anything again. Moved to a different room. Paid cash. She called again this morning. Said Eli woke up crying. That he was asking why fake daddy sleeps in my bed and eats my cereal. I said, what fake daddy? She went silent for 3 seconds. Then, don't do this. I said his words, not mine. And hung up. 2 hours later, Eli left me a voicemail. Whispering, I saw mommy kissing a man in your shirt. But he has yellow teeth. You brush yours. That made me laugh. Really laugh. Ugly, painful, disbelieving laughter. I texted her. If you're going to bring someone else into the house, maybe don't let him wear my clothes. No reply. Until just now. A single message. He's asking if the man in the drawing lied. That drawing. That stupid, gutting crayon sketch I still see when I close my eyes. She taped it to the fridge like a trophy. A final little performance for the man she'd slowly erased. But it backfired. Because Eli drew it based on what she told him. And now he's old enough to start noticing the lies don't match the people. He's 6. Kids don't stay stupid forever. They listen. They remember. And one day they compare what they were told to what they lived. The fridge drawing was a prophecy. But not hers. Mine. Because I'm not the one crying outside anymore. I'm the ghost in the machine. Watching. Waiting. Letting her dig. Edit. I'm meeting with a custody lawyer next week. Not for war. For record keeping. For future Eli. Because if she wants to rewrite the story, I want to keep the receipts. Update 2. He asked if I could come to his birthday party. I said only if your mom says yes. His eyes changed. He whispered, she said you died. That was the moment I stopped trying to be gentle. I was sitting on the curb outside a UPS store, cradling my phone like it was a grenade with the pin halfway out. It was the first time Eli called without her knowing. Blocked number. 1 minute and 32 seconds long. He said he used a classmate's mom's phone during aftercare pickup. Said he had to do it secret because he wasn't supposed to know my number. He said, I want you to come to my party. We're having a dinosaur cake. I smiled so hard it hurt. Said, only if your mom says I can. That's when his voice dropped. She said you died. I blinked. Thought I misheard. He said it again. Louder this time. Like he wanted to get it right. She told us you had to go away because of work. Work sadness. I asked him to repeat it. He did. Carefully, like he was reading it from a memory card. That's when I ended the call. Because I didn't want him to hear what I was about to become. I stared at the asphalt until the world stopped spinning. Then I drove. Not home. Not to the hotel. Just drove. Because my wife, the woman I trusted to protect him even if we hated each other, told our 6-year-old son that I died. Died. From work. From sadness. A grief no one had the right to plant in his chest. A grief she fabricated because she couldn't stand being seen as the villain in the story she was writing on top of my grave. I didn't call her. I didn't send a message. I did something worse. I went quiet. The kind of silence you get when an animal decides it's done warning you. The next morning, I called my lawyer. Told him to file for emergency visitation. He asked what happened. I told him everything. Down to the phrase work sadness. His tone changed. Became clinical. Focused. I gave him the recordings. The text logs. Even the goddamn crayon drawing. He said, start packing. You're about to become very busy. That same day, I made one more stop. Party City. I walked the aisles like a ghost, touching plastic triceratops and felt birthday crowns. I didn't know what I was doing. Just knew I needed to be there somehow. I bought a helium tank. Balloons. A small, inflatable T-Rex. Packed them in my trunk and waited in the lot across from his school. Didn't approach. Didn't linger. I just watched. Watched her pick him up. Watched her put her hand on his head like it meant something. Watched him glance around with those wide, tired eyes and say something I couldn't hear, but I could see her face crumple when he said it. I hope it was, I saw him. Because he did. Just for a second. Our eyes met through a sea of SUV windshields. He smiled. Then she grabbed his arm and turned him toward the parking lot exit. I waited 10 minutes before I drove away. Not in defeat. In certainty. She lied to his face about my death. And the truth? Was standing 20 yards away holding a balloon. Update 3, she said I wasn't invited. But Eli gave me a map made of construction paper. It led to the woods behind the house. He buried something there. The invitation didn't come from her. It came from a tiny envelope taped to the outside of my hotel door, sealed with a dinosaur sticker. Inside, a folded piece of blue construction paper with shaky crayon lines forming a trail. At the bottom it read, "Secret party for real dad. Look for the rock that's sad." I didn't sleep that night. Just stared at that map until the sun broke over the strip mall outside my window. Then I put on the only dress shirt I hadn't cried in yet, filled a gift bag with small plastic dinosaurs and drove to the old neighborhood. I parked 2 blocks away. Walked through backyards like a thief. The backyard gate to our old house was unlocked. Still squeaked on the left hinge. The party was in full swing. Plastic tablecloths. Dino hats. A store-bought cake with Eli's name spelled out in frosting footprints. Adults I didn't recognize drinking white wine like it was communion. And her. Standing at the head of the table laughing too hard at something one of the dads said. Wearing the dress she only ever wore to pretend we still had a marriage. I didn't go in. I followed the map. It led me around the property line, past the swing set I built with bare hands and YouTube videos into the patch of woods where Eli and I used to hunt for dirt gold. He called it that, dirt gold. One time we found a rusted bolt and he swore it belonged to a pirate's wagon. The map ended at a lopsided rock behind a rotting fence post. The sad rock. There was a paper straw sticking out of the ground like a flag. I dug with my hands. 6 inches down I hit something soft plastic wrapped. A shoebox. Inside, a T-Rex balloon, half deflated and tied with yarn. And a note in childish, sharp letters. I told the new dad you'd be here. He said no. But I said no louder. Under that, another line. You're my real dad. They don't know what that means, but I do. And then, in darker pen, like it was added later. This is your part of the party. I made it so no one can ruin it. I sat there holding that balloon like it was made of glass. My hands were filthy. My knees wet with mud. And I cried. Not the stoic, single-tear kind. The kind where you gasp and shake and curse yourself for ever thinking you were crazy. He knew. Through all of it, the gaslighting, the manipulation, the fairy tales of daddy dying from work sadness, my son knew. That should have been enough. It should have ended there. But I needed to see him. Not to disrupt. Not to prove anything. Just to see. So I waited. 30 minutes later, I watched the guests begin to file out. I stayed hidden, counting them like a coward, waiting for the back patio to clear. Then I saw him. Sitting alone on the grass, pulling frosting off a paper plate with his fingers. I moved before I thought. Crossed the yard like I still lived there. Didn't even try to be subtle. She saw me first. Froze mid-laugh. Then sprinted across the yard like she could still dictate who got to exist. What the hell do you think you're doing? She hissed, grabbing my arm. Eli looked up. Eyes wide. Frosting on his lip. He stood slowly. Mommy, he said. I invited him. You most certainly did not. He pulled the blue construction paper from his pocket and held it up like a weapon. She stopped. Dead in her tracks. The guests who hadn't yet left started whispering. Watching. I bent down to Eli's eye level. Pulled the T-Rex balloon from my coat and handed it to him. He took it without a word. Tied it to his wrist. Then he hugged me. For a long time. His breath hitched once. Then steadied. And I felt it. The moment when something in her cracked. She said, "You're confusing him. This isn't okay." I looked at her and said the calmest thing I've ever said. "No. What you did. That wasn't okay." A beat of silence. Then I added. "I'm staying nearby. Eli knows how to find me. So does your lawyer." Then I left. Didn't storm out. Didn't slam the gate. Just walked back into the woods, mud on my pants and a balloon string trailing behind me like a vein. Final update, she called at 2:14 a.m. Said he locked himself in the bathroom with a picture of me. When she asked what was wrong, he whispered, "You made him go away." I let the phone ring. She left 6 voicemails in the span of an hour. Each one unraveling more than the last. The first, calm, rehearsed, polite. Asking me to come over and talk to Eli just once because he was having a hard emotional night. The second, sharper. Accusing. Said I'd crossed a line by coming to the party. That I'd made her look like a liar. The third, broken. She was crying now. Said Eli was in the bathroom, door locked from the inside. Said he wasn't answering. By the fourth, her voice was lower. Quieter. Terrified. He's not talking to me. He keeps whispering through the door, you made him disappear. He's talking about you. He thinks you're gone. The fifth, silence. Just breathing. Then, I don't know how to fix this. The sixth came at 3:08 a.m. He's asleep now. He cried himself to sleep in the bathroom. With that stupid drawing clutched to his chest. The one he made for you. It's got water damage. I think he cried on it. That one broke something in me. Not for her. For him. At 7:12 a.m. I sent her a text. I'll pick him up at 4. Have him ready. Pack light. No reply. Not until 3:48 p.m. when I parked at the curb in front of what used to be my home. She stepped outside with Eli, holding his tiny backpack like it might explode. He was quiet. Pale. But when he saw me, his face did this thing I'll never forget. It didn't light up, it steadied. Like the world snapped back into place. She tried to say something. I raised a hand. Not to wave. To stop her. Then I knelt, opened the car door, and asked him if he wanted to come stay with me for a while. He nodded. Didn't even look back at her. Didn't cry. Didn't ask if she was coming. Just buckled in and held the balloon string still tied to his wrist from the party. We didn't talk much on the drive. I let him pick the music. He chose the dinosaur song he used to dance to on Saturday mornings when the world still made sense. I didn't cry. Not then. That night, he slept in my hotel bed while I sat in the hallway on a plastic chair and watched the door like it might vanish. At 2:03 a.m. he woke up and came out. Sat beside me. We didn't speak for a long time. Then he whispered. Why did she say you were dead? I couldn't answer. So he did. Was it so I'd stop loving you? I didn't cry then either. I just said, you don't have to stop caring, even for people who made mistakes. He nodded. Quiet. Scary wise. Then he asked if I wanted to draw something. So we did. Side by side on the carpet. Blue construction paper, hotel pen. This time, the picture was of a house. No rain. No crying. Just 2 people. One tall. One small. And a sign on the front door that said, Real Dad Lives Here. I taped it to the inside of the hotel mini fridge. Still there as I type this. We have a court date next month. I'm not trying to erase her. I'm not even trying to win. I just want him to live somewhere where love isn't used as a threat. Where his memories aren't revised in real time. Where stories are honest and not twisted by someone who couldn't admit the truth. That he knew the difference. Even when they all thought he didn't. Eli told me yesterday that when he grows up, he wants to be someone who fixes broken stories. I told him that's what I've been trying to do too. One picture at a time. One map at a time. One ghost, finally exorcised, at a time.